The NCAA all-time leader in assists isn't in college anymore, but you know who is? The guy that beat him out to lead the nation last year. Let's go, Sparty.
You are Locked On College Basketball, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Welcome into the Locked On College Basketball Podcast. I'm your host, Isaac Shade. I'm joined today by the man, Matt Sheehan, the great host of Locked On Spartans, Michigan State style. If you're not watching this, you need to, because Sheehan is rocking an incredible Sparty t-shirt right now we just talked about for a couple minutes, and I'm in love with it. It's so good.
Only pulling the best out for the show here, Isaac. You know me. This is my version of a tuxedo. We're dressed up to the nines tonight. That's right.
Tuxedo East Lansing style. I'm here for
That's
it.
Right.
Let's go. So welcome into the Locked On College Basketball audience, to the Locked On Spartans audience. Great to be together. Behind the scenes just a little bit, Matt and I are actually both going on like a 2-week vacation, and so we're trying to pre-record a whole bunch of stuff. So actually, and kind of ironically, hilariously for the Spartans, we're recording this on the same day that Dusty May announced, or not that he announced, but it was announced that Dusty May is leaving Michigan. And so how apropos, Matt, that we're recording on this day when the Wolverines took a bullet.
What a bummer. Oh, man, just fell to my knees. I just felt so awful for all my good friends in the state that saw their basketball coach leave. It's awesome, man. I mean, look, I don't want the title to ever happen to them, but like there is like a bit of a sweetness that, like, okay, he bolts immediately after. 3 of the guys were one and done. Everyone else is out of the transfer portal. This is a Fugazi title, Isaac. That's right. A blip on the radar, never to be remembered ever again. At least that's how I'm going to look at it. So
I think it will be remembered. But Dusty May, Hey, by the way, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The biggest stage in world soccer is here. Let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com right now to get started. Here's what we're actually talking about today is the Michigan State Spartans 26-27 edition. I was just telling Sheehan, I am geeked for this team. Lots of returners, great stuff. So we're going to talk about expectations for the year. We're going to talk about starting rotation, position battles, critical bench pieces, all that. But first, I just want to make sure that everybody knows. Let's get up to speed with who this team is, the 26-27 Spartans. And here's where I want to start, Matty, man.
Yeah.
4 players started every game for Michigan State last year. 2 of them are back, but 2 of them are gone. We know how critical retention is in college basketball in the dear era of our Lord NIL. Yeah. So Sparty has that retention, particularly in the form of Jeremy Fears and Coen Carr, amongst others. That's where I want to start. How critical is it to get back the dude that led the nation, not Braden Smith, Jeremy Fears, in assists last year?
Yeah, I had maybe a few meltdowns like during his hold. Put the name of the NBA draft. Most likely he's going to come back, but it just kept going on and on and on. And I said straight up, like, there's no lipstick in this pig here. If he leaves, like, we are screwed next year. Like, it's going to be bad times. Not only because he's that great of a player, but the depth behind him at that guard position still isn't 100%. We're going to be pretty reliant on a true freshman guard, who I do like, Carlos Medlock, just not to the capacity of 33 minutes a game as a true freshman. So it's massive. If he didn't come back, Isaac, I would not have agreed to do this show. I would have just been straight football the entire calendar year until 2026 ran out. So yeah, it's massive, both for Michigan State on the court and for all Michigan State fans' mental health. It's amazing that he came back. Thank you very much, Jeremy. I know you're listening right now.
And does it have any vibes for you? Like, I've been trying to process this of some of these just other lineage of absolute dudes at lead guard for Tom Izzo through the years, whether it's Mateen Cleaves or Cassius or any of these guys that have come back, been the guy, been the toast of East Lansing. So it's like both that, but we already know how great Jeremy Fears is. What is there left to do and grow in?
You know, I guess it's just picking up where he left off last year. And of course, you know, everyone knows that he did pretty well even beforehand. Hey, great assist to turnover ratio. He's really good at running this half court offense. But one thing that I'm really focused on is that on the year, 32% shooting from 3. Okay, whatever. The last 10 games, though, he shot 47% from three. Now, I'm not expecting him to shoot that clip. That would be irrationally greedy of me to expect, but can that also be an aspect of his game? Of course. And he also said, even during the NBA draft process, that he wants to get better and more consistent defensively. He has been a plus defender. I think he is a plus defender, but can you be that night in, night out, even though you're throwing 33, 35, 37 minutes per night on those legs? Faded away a little bit at the end of last year, understandably so, but I think that's where he takes his next step. Outside shooting and also being on defense 24/7 whenever you're on that court.
As you said, 47%, especially as your legs are giving way, is crazy. Quickly, what's a realistic number to look at? Like 37?
I was gonna say 37 or 38. I mean, I think that's reasonable. It's doable, right? Yeah. Like his stroke looks fine. There's no like real bad hitches in it. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The other main piece that's returning for the Spartans is Coen Carr. Yeah. We all know Matt Sheehan, what this dude can do flying through the air. By the way, if you have been living under a rock and you don't know, just go see some highlights and come back and find us later.
The best.
But for him, where can he more fully round out his game?
Yeah. The easy answer is outside shooting, of course. Hey, if he gets a jump shot, he's going to be unstoppable. And yes, those games where he is dotting threes, like it's a life-changing experience. Michigan State can never be beat. But something more realistic, something that he's even closer to in his fourth year coming up, is be more consistent rebounding the basketball and also playing defense. He is a plus on the glass. He is a plus defensively. But can you be more consistent with it? I don't want to say that he takes like games off or question his motor, because that's not the issue. But can you just be more defined on the glass, especially with Kohler and Cooper leaving last season? I'm sure we'll get to that in a little bit. Yeah. And also defensively, look, you're the most freak athlete on there. If you're going to guard the other guy's big man or wing, like, let's just bring it every single game here. So yes, outside shooting is what a lot of people, myself, say, but more realistically, the defense and rebounding, I feel like, is just right there going into the senior season.
You just alluded to it. As we said, there are 4 guys that started every game for Michigan State last year. We've talked about the 2 that are back: Jaxon, Kohler, Carson, Cooper, gone. And that's your big boys. That's the farm strength. How are we trying to replace them there in the front court to help Tom Izzo?
I think it's a bigger hole that a lot of Spartan fans are, letting to, show themselves, is that they weren't just good at rebounding. They weren't great. They were elite at rebounding the basketball. Jaxon Kohler specifically, if you just look at individual rebounding numbers, he had some of the best offensive and defensive rebounding percentage numbers that you'd see in the Torvik era going back to 2008. And you don't even need to be a nerd and go on the websites like I did. Just watch a game. Like, this guy is a dog on the boards. And Carson Cooper got the growth he had from year 1 to year 4. We've seen players develop under Izzo. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that, though. So we're going to be missing him. We're going to miss his offensive game that he suddenly had in his senior year. But yeah, I think the rebounding for both these guys is really what we're going to miss, because I'll say it one more time. They were number 1 in defensive rebounding percentage, number 10 offensively. They were elite at it. And I think that we'll miss that a little bit more than we want to tell ourselves next year.
But also back in the fold is a couple guys that started multiple games last year. You have Kurt Tang, you've got Jordan Scott. Yeah. What do you kind of expect out of those guys in terms of taking the next step this year?
Yeah, I hope Jordan Scott is just spending this entire offseason on the squat rack. I mean, he hit the freshman wall. I mean, it wasn't a total dud the last month of the season, but there was definitely, you could just see it by the game logs or by watching these games. The last month of the season, he did hit that ill-fated wall a lot of young players go into. So can his legs be more ready for a full college season? And Kurt Tang, I think it's fascinating. He could even be the 3rd guy off the bench at his position. Wow. I mean, we're going to talk about him. Jasiah, Jervis, McDonald's, All-American. But, hey, you got Jordan Scott. He could play the 2. You got Jervis can play the 2. Can Kurt Tang be this assassin that just, microwaves himself off the bench in these random games? That could be the spot for him. Is there a scenario where he is the first guy off the bench? Yeah, I'm sure there is. But, it speaks to the depth of this team that, Kurt Tang coming back, he might not even be the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, possibly the 4th guy off the bench. I love it here. Yeah. I love it here.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
It's great.
It's one of those things where every time you can shove somebody into a seat on the bus and other guys slide back a seat into more where they should be, it just makes the team look that much better. So I want to talk to Sheehan about the identity of this team. What is it going to be? Is it Jeremy Fears? Is it how he brings everyone together? We'll look at that. The strength of this freshman class, biggest strength, biggest weakness for this team. And I need to know who's the starting five and who's coming in after him. We're headed to all those conversations coming up in just a second. Right after we tell you about FanDuel, the biggest stage in world soccer is here, and every match feels like it has the potential for a memorable moment. One goal can completely change the energy of a game, shift momentum, and alter the outcome in an instant. That's what makes tournament soccer so exciting. From the opening whistle all the way to the final kick, and now FanDuel is giving fans another reason to stay locked into every match with every goal pays. You bet on a match and you get bonus bets for every goal scored in that match. More goals equals more bonus bets. All you got to do is turn on your token. I love it because, Sheehan, there might be a match I don't even really care all that much about, but if I want to see a bunch of goals scored, I'm going to figure out where there's going to be a bunch of goals scored and I'm going to go watch it, right?
Yep, you're here. You got that right.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's, by the way, while we're talking Spartans, let's go check out next season's national championship odds at FanDuel. Right now, Florida leads the way at plus 600, Duke at plus 700. I looked at this last night before the Dusty May news. Michigan was third at plus 750. They have now fallen to plus 1,200 just based on that.
Get out of here.
Sparty right now tied for sixth best odds with Houston and Louisville and Arkansas at plus 2,200. So you want to get in on that action from the opening whistle to the final kick. Let there be goals on FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com to get started right now. Thanks for making Locked On College Basketball and Locked On Spartans your first listener watch. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. If you never miss an episode, time to make it official. Go check out the Everydayer Club where you get ad-free audio versions of our shows, one-on-one messaging, and other perks as well. Check it out. The link's down in the show notes. Matt Sheehan, as you start to think about the identity of the 26-27 Spartans, what is it?
I've been sitting on this question for about 13 hours now, ever since you sent me the text this morning. I think it's going to be a lot of the same, what you've seen with Tom Izzo recently. A little bit less on the rebounding. I think we're going to ramp up the running, though. So it's always defend, rebound, run. Pretty good holy trinity for Michigan State basketball. I think we're going to turn it up a little bit on the running, though, just because of the depth that you have, the kind of offensive skill set of players that you have here. And then the rebounding, it'll still be there. Like, Michigan State won't be duds on the glass, but like you've heard me talk about, Kohler and Cooper are notable absences on the board. So I think it's going to be more high flying, a little bit more high scoring. And of course, having a guy like Coen Carr in the wing for another year, that's going to make that easier to do. So that's what I'm feeling here.
Man, that makes a lot of sense. So part of what I love is it's always fun to start looking at where a team's going to succeed and fail. So Sheehan, let's go both sides of that. What is Sparty's elite trait when you think about strength? And on the other side, go ahead and answer both.
Yeah.
What for you is the biggest question mark that's going to have to be answered?
The strength of this team is going to be it's experience. I mean, having two guys come back yet again, Jeremy Fears, Coen Carr, just doesn't happen a lot. And we saw that happen with Michigan State last year too. Early on, all these returning players, they work so well in defense in harmony together because the chemistry was already there. Everyone knew the drill, where everyone was going to be. That they were able to pop Arkansas early in the year like that. So experience does matter. But outside of the intangibles, I think this team's going to be a better shooting team than they have been in years past here. Now, they weren't awful last year. They were just inside the top 50, but I'm talking they could be bordering on, well, good to elite shooting. You're going to get Caleb Glenn back from injury. Of course, Carlos Medlock, the freshman guard, he's coming in. He's got a three-point shot. Jasiah Jervis as well. So, NFA, Jordan Scott can also add to his legs, make his season longer than it was last year. He was high 30% last year too, so I think it will be a good offensive team. Now, where the weakness is, I'm not going to just keep on saying, Kohler, Cooper, no rebounding over and over again, but it's hard to watch last year's college basketball season with so many teams, so many dominant teams be really great in the front court.
Yes.
And then look at Michigan State's, and I'm not saying we're bad. I think we're pretty good in the front court, but is it enough to elevate you to that next level? Cam Ward is great. Like, I love him like my own child. His motor is out of control. He is a Spartan dog through and through. I love the guy. Still a touch undersized, though, especially if he's going to play center in a small ball lineup. Anton Bonk, fine transfer from Charlotte, but, this was what I've been saying over and over again. I feel like he was the cutoff between guys that this fan base would have blindly. And then guys that, okay, the fan base just would have threw out with the bathwater. He is that dividing line kind of guy. I think he's going to be just fine enough. But then there's a bunch of question marks. Guys back for their third year, Jesse McCulloch, and then we have incoming freshman who is a complete almost question mark with how weird his high school season was, Ethan Taylor. So, it's a good front court, but is it great enough to win the Big Ten and elevate you to a Final Four national title contender? I hate to say it. Got to be patient, to be determined, though, on that.
Safe to say right now, then, you feel better about the backcourt than the front court?
I do, yeah, almost exponentially. I mean, when it's headed up by fears, yeah, and then you just watch Jasiah Jervis's high school tape. Like a single tear comes to my eye every time I watch. Like, this guy just creates his own shot. He's a 3-level scorer. He plays tough defense. It's like I get emotional just thinking about it. So not to put pressure on the kid, but I think he's going to deliver here early on.
It sounds like he's got to, or you're going to be crying different tears, Sheehan.
It could be. Accurate. Yeah.
That said, I think that kind of moves us then into what makes sense for you. Obviously, we're recording this in late June. People are listening to it, watching it early July. What for you right now is the starting five, knowing that you have every right to be able to change this by November 2nd?
Like Champions Classic tipping off right here in July. I'm going to go with Jeremy Fears at the 1, Jordan Scott at the 2, and then Coen Carr at the 3, even though I think he's more of a 4, but I'm not Tom Izzo. Number 4, I'm going to go with Cam Ward at the power forward position. And then number 5, why not? Anton Bonk, who paid you all this money out of the portal. Yeah, you're going to be our starting center, but could I see things changing by the time January flips on the calendar? I absolutely 100% could. If you just want me to keep rambling,
prognosticate that. Like,
I'm happy to.
Who is it? Like, who's in the starting lineup right now that's getting replaced, and who is it that you would see by January or February?
Right. So what I'm going to do, actually, we're just going to start a game with 6 players on the court and just eat the technical because I like all these 5 guys, but I do think Jervis does make his way into the starting lineup eventually. If things go according to plan, if this guy's as good as the staff thinks that he is. But what do you do with Jordan Scott? Well, personally, I would slide him down to the 3, and then I'm putting Coen Carr down at the 4. So I'm taking Cam Ward out of the lineup and still keeping Bonk in the 5. Still, that's all kind of meaningless in the grand scheme of things because it's all the minutes that matter at the end. Cam Ward will still play starter quality minutes here, but that's where I could see things eventually turning. Is just getting a little bit more offense in the wings. Jasiah Jervis has a few games under his belt against some stiff competition. Let's have him starting against Big Ten teams when it's time.
And as we think about the end of game, because I love your point there about sure, it's whoever starts, but really let's look at the minutes and who's playing starter level minutes. But ultimately, the pushback you always get from ball knowers is, I don't even care who the starting 5 is. I want to know who the closing 5 is. So would you give me a same quintet or would it be different?
Of course, it depends on the game script and how's it going, how much. But I get what you're saying because mine that I keep barking out here is Cam Ward, get back out here. You're going to be our 5 guy because I really fall in love with the small ball lineup sometimes. Dude. You know what? And I'll tell you what's putting the twinkle in my eye right now. Jeremy Fears at the 1, Jasiah Jervis at the 2, or Kurt Tang, whoever's hot that day, whatever.
Yeah.
I do love Jordan Scott at the 3, and it's not even for what he offers offensively. Defensively, he had some outstanding performances last year. I am so high on Jordan Scott. So Coen Carr at the 4, and then Cam Ward at the 5 because that's where you usually get in these tight game situations, more small ball lineups. But there's some versatility you have with this lineup, especially with these guys at the wing position. I do like the way that this team balances out both starting and closing games here.
Yeah, I'm here for look, if it turns out Bonk isn't doing everything you need and that other 5 is your best 5, even if it's a little undersized, like you said, let's run and let's just take people's legs out away from them and see what happens, so.
Yeah, I know that the depth, they have the depth to do it. I mean, to make it a track meet and just see who's still standing at the end of the game. So that's what I love about this team, man.
And last thing I'll ask you here, and then we can transition to talking about expectations beyond that. I'll call them the starting 6, the hexagon. The hexagon of starting, I don't know. We got to come up with something for that. Who would be, because we often talk about college basketball. You really just need 8 or 9 guys deep and you're solid. And I know Coach Izzo can often develop more and get more guys in, especially in non-conference plays. He's trying to figure out what he's got. But as we get to March and it's really whittled down to like that 8 or 9, if we've got that 6 that you just talked about, who would be the next 2 or 3 beyond that?
There were points last year where Caleb Glenn was the most important player that never played for Michigan State, because it really did seem like at parts like, man, we could really use him on this year's team when we were kind of in a lull there. But on a real note, he's going to have a spot on this team physically. Like, he's Big Ten ready. He shoots a three-pointer adequately. Certainly solid on the baseline, that is. But yeah, I think Caleb Glenn's going to have a role on this team, like through and through, wire to wire of the season. No question. Kurt Tank, pop up. We've talked about him. I'm just so fascinated in the 2 guys behind Bonk, and maybe one of these guys even starts the season over Bonk for all we know. But Jesse McCulloch, who redshirted his first year, played a little bit last year. He was a coach's scratch like the last 8 of 10 games of the season or whatever. He still got a little bit of the way to go. And then there's this freshman, Ethan Taylor, I could see, making a case for himself late in the year. And I kind of chalked him up after his high school season at Link Academy with teammate Carlos Medlock. That's right. They already got pre-built-in chemistry coming out of high school. But he came off the bench there. Like, he didn't play a ton. But then he makes Team USA's U19 team for their, just Continental Bonanza tournament that they had in Mexico that I forgot what the name of that was. But, so hold on. So he's good enough to make Team USA, but wasn't good enough to play at Link Academy. It turned out that, he didn't really love the vibe down there. So Ethan Taylor has just thrown my brain into mashed potatoes. But if he is this high 4-star guy, a guy that's not just projected to be good one day, but he's at least good right now, then he could be one of these 9 guys at the end of the season. That's the biggest question mark of the season. It's either Jesse McCulloch or Ethan Taylor, and I might lean Ethan Taylor now.
Interesting. That's Link Academy, about an hour down the road from me in Branson.
Hey, now let's go. Turn it up. One time.
Ignore Branson at all costs. All right.
Okay,
so look, Matt, Tom Izzo, no spring chicken. This is known. This is fair. The dude's 71, right?
Yeah.
So my question is, there aren't many more chances. Is this the team that gets him back to the Final Four for the first time since 2019? We'll talk about that. Look at the expectations for this team coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Odoo, running a business should not feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. You got one app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales, and somehow none of them actually talk to each other. Well, that's where Odoo comes in. It's an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focus on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working toward the same goal. And that's true in sports, just like it is in business. One thing that really stands out is when an organization gets everyone pulling in the same direction, not just one great player or coach. It's a coordinated effort across an entire organization to make a massive team success. If that doesn't scream what Tom Izzo is trying to do year in and year out, Matt Sheehan, I don't know what does, right?
You're darn tootin'. That's right. That is right.
Get it, Sparty. Great organizations win because operations matter. That's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. Sheehan, earlier I asked you kind of about what is the strength? What is the just superhuman thing for this team? And also what is maybe the big question marks need to answer? Similarly, but different, as we start to think about the potential outcomes for this team, as you dream and think about what the ceiling could be, and then you think about, oh boy, that's the floor that I never wanted to get to. What's the best case scenario for the Spartans team that's trying to get a 71-year-old whose number of seasons is dwindling back to the Final Four? But if it's the floor, if it's the other side, what has gone wrong to get there, and what is that floor?
The ceiling, can I say it? Can I say
yes,
can I say national title? Is that okay? I'm not coming on here we are for sure going to do it, and I will never to be seen again if they don't do. No, the thing I've been saying all off seasons, they really remind me, not stylistically and how they're built, but kind of like how UConn was projected going into the tournament last year. Really seem okay, they can get to the national title game. They have some flaws where they could lose in one of these early rounds, but they can get to the national title game. I don't know about win it, but turns out that's what happened to them. That's kind of where I see Michigan State right here. Obviously, that can change when the season gets going and we see some questions answered. But yeah, I think, yes, they can make the national title game. when you make it, anything can happen in that one, right? Especially when it's in Detroit, right down the road. Come on now. Right. But man, the floor, I don't want to make too high of a floor, because if it goes any lower than that, then boy, will I feel really bad about myself. But
and I'm assuming health here. Like, let's
of course.
If Jeremy Fears breaks his heart, like, no, like everything being healthy and going normally.
I look at Purdue last year, who had a whale of expectations coming in, and yes, they had a core that stuck together, but they were never able to just hit that extra gear. I mean, like, they were always a really great team, but like, let's say Coen Carr like doesn't take another step forward here. Like, let's say Jeremy Fears like doesn't step up in his 3-point shooting or defense, or just like looks stale. I don't expect this group to have that stale feeling that Purdue had last year, where it truly felt like, not to call the Boilermakers out, but I feel like they thought the regular season was just kind of a 30 game long preseason before the postseason started.
Florida in 07.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes.
That's a great reference. So, like, I don't think they'll have that problem, but yeah, is there a scenario where your upperclassmen don't take that extra step? There is, but I just don't see it falling any less than, oh God, like a 4 or a 5 seed. I hope I'm not jinxing anything right now. Let me knock on wood, but
I think that's very fair on both accounts, because there are not many teams in any given season that can have any sort of realistic national champion aspirations. Mm-hmm. And when you have a Jeremy Fears, like, you have to be able to.
It's a floor setter.
Right.
Yeah, they call him the floor general, but he's a floor setter, man. I mean, as long as you got an all-American point guard, like, how bad can you really be? Please don't answer that question. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it played out. Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay. Sheehan, then, looking at those two paths that are probably very divergent from one another, what is it in your mind? What is like the singularly biggest X factor that's going to determine which way the season goes, whether one of those two are somewhere in the middle?
It's you don't want to put pressure on the freshmen, do you? But like, you kind of need them to step up here. And look, I mean, Jeremy Fears at the point guard position right after him. It is Carlos Medlock, and this is a kid that was, 4-star, ranks, inside the top 70, top 60. He is undersized, but man, he is a dynamic scorer. All right, I think he is very offensively ready, but will the physicality wear down on him? Potentially. It was largely a drama-free offseason for Michigan State, but Divine Ukachukwu's departure at almost literal midnight of the transfer portal.
And he's going to LSU, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Went to LSU. Oh, he's got a few reasons to go to LSU from what I've heard. But
he might not have many teammates, Sheehan. We'll see what happens.
Don't let that be a problem. He's getting paid like a couple teammates, so maybe he'll pick up the load there, which good for him. Like, I'm a big Divine guy.
But can you imagine if he's your backup point guard behind Jeremy? I mean, it's like, good night.
I know. And then like Carlos Medlock's like your third guy. Like, what an embarrassment of riches that you have here. But also, it's not just Medlock. Like, it is Jasiah Jervis as well. I mean, there's going to be a lot shouldered on this kid. I mean, he was very, very prioritized by Michigan State. Let's not get that twisted. And they won his commitment. And yeah, what did Michigan State need last year? A guy that can make his own shot, take some of the pressure off Jeremy Fears, and that's asking so much, even out of a McDonald's All-American, but he has to be who we all think he is going into next season. And then you add on the two other guys, Ethan Taylor, which I've already talked about. Hey, if he plays, great, awesome. Julius Avent, not expecting much out of him, but don't threaten me with a good time and be a surprise and be an energy off the bench guy. I mean, come on. So, yeah, I really think it's going to be the freshmen that actually might separate Michigan State from, hey, Final Four to, hey, playing 2 games in that last weekend of the season.
So give me the realistic feel of where you're at right now. Not the pipe dream, not the hope, not the floor. I want where you, like, if you could zoom out and be as objective as possible, which I know is hard for you because you and I are alike, where we are dreamers, Matt Sheehan, you and I. What for you is the Big Ten outlook, the national outlook for this Michigan State team?
Boy, does the Big Ten look a lot more gettable in the last 12 hours, doesn't it? I mean, and at this point, when people are listening to it, this is old news at this point. Right. But, I was going to put it like, when I've had the conversation not too long ago, it's us and it's Michigan at the top of the Big Ten, along with Illinois. So I don't know if I'm willing to make it a 2-horse race yet. I still think it will be a 3-horse race. Let me see what Mike Boynton's got under his belt here for, just a few games before I start getting a little excited. But yeah, I think it's going to be one of those 3 teams. You could edit this part out. I don't want to upset my State fans. Illinois looks really damn good, though. I don't know if I could beat my chest and defiantly say that, yeah, I think we will top them. I think it'll be Illinois 1, MSU 2, Michigan 3. But as far as the national championship run goes, man, it really feels like 2 years ago, right? Like 2 seed. Hopefully you don't run into like this buzzsaw Auburn team. But I really feel like this is a team that ends the season on that 2 seed line. And after that, it's in fate's and Tom Izzo's hands. Right. After that,
make the second weekend and see what happens, right? Like I feel like that's the thing. It's just getting past the first weekend. And yeah, I'm with you on the Big Ten of it. It's like, and obviously we'll have these conversations again as we get closer into the fall, Matt. But like, I feel like if Michigan State is not one of those top 4 teams that gets the double bye, something has gone wrong.
Yeah. Seriously. Yeah.
And so we'll see with that. Although I said double bye, but the Big Ten went wacky with the bracket last year. Do you remember that?
Well, they just added more teams to the Wednesday slate.
That was it. Yes. Yeah. I was like, something was different last year with the Big
Ten. Or it
Ten.
starts Tuesday now. I don't know. Or like it starts Valentine's Day if you're like 17th and 18th place. Like, it's jacked. Hopefully we don't have to worry about that this year.
No, we shouldn't. And now we get an extra regular season game. We're letting in like everybody into the turn. So it's a whole thing. All right. You guys, thanks so much for hanging out with Matt Sheehan and I today. To all the Spartans fans out there, to all the Locked On College Basketball folks out there, we're so appreciative of you for hanging out with us here in the summer. If you've not followed Locked On Spartans on YouTube and audio, go do that right now. If you haven't done the same for Locked On College Basketball, go to both our shows, turn on those automatic downloads, and let them rip. Those download numbers really, truly help. If you're not part of the Everydayer Club that we talked about earlier, go check that out. That link is in the show notes. On the college basketball side, we've got a Discord where we're chatting about national college basketball stuff all the time. We'd love for you to hang out with us there. Let's get out of here the same way we do after every Locked On College Basketball show. Apologies to the Lawyer family. Apologies to the Sanford family. Let's go Wild Popes. Cheers to the McBruins. And until tomorrow, peace.